Hi, I'm Tony Van Veen, CEO of Discmakers. Did you know that if you're a Spotify subscriber, or Amazon, or Apple Music, or just about any other streaming platform, that most of your subscription revenue probably goes to artists you've never listened to? That's right. Most of the big streaming companies calculate their royalty on what they call the pro rata basis, or the pro rata model. What does that mean? Well, they take all the subscription revenues from all their subscribers each month and put them in one pot. Then they tally up all the streams on their platform for all artists combined. First, they take out their share of the revenue, let's say around 40% for easy math. The remaining 60% of their whole revenue pool is then spread out over all the streams that happen on the platform. So, all the payable revenues, everyone's collective subscription fees together in a bucket, all the streams in a pool, you divide all the revenues by all the streams, and each stream gets paid out their pro rata share. Sorry, I'm in my warehouse, there's some people working. Let me give you an example with some numbers so that you can understand more specifically how it works. I'll use Spotify as an example, but it works more or less the same way everywhere. And I'll note this is super oversimplified just to explain the concept. Let's say Spotify has monthly subscription revenue of $1 billion. That's not exactly right, but their revenues are in that approximate order of magnitude. So $1 billion in revenues in a month. First thing Spotify does is it takes its own cut, right? About 40% of gross revenue, give or take a few percentage points. So in this example, Spotify keeps $400 million, and the remaining $600 million are paid to the rights holders. Okay, so $600 million are there in a big pot to be paid. How does Spotify know how much to pay for each stream? Simple. They total up all the streams for the month. Let's say 200 billion streams. And then they just divide the available royalty dollars by the number of monthly streams. In this case, $600 million are divided by 200 billion streams for a per stream royalty rate of 3/1000ths of a dollar per stream. Yes, 3/1000ths, which happens to be 3/10 of a penny per stream, which again is very roughly what Spotify actually pays per stream. I want to reiterate, this is super oversimplified. I'm not factoring in publishing royalties, I'm not factoring in that subscription rates vary significantly from one country to another, nor any of, I'm sure, a long list of other particulars. But you get the idea, right? Your $10 subscription fee for the month is part of that $1 billion in total subscription revenues, and it is divided into tiny fractions over 200 billion streams. It doesn't matter how niche your musical taste may be. If you're into grindcore, for example, or polka, it doesn't matter how many artists you listen to. In fact, the more niche your musical tastes, the more likely that most of your subscription revenues go to cover streams by Drake, Bad Bunny, Cardi B, Taylor Swift, etc. Which is great for the majors and their major artists. Not so great for smaller and mid-sized indie artists. And as great as all the access to all the music on the streaming services is for me as a music fan and as a streaming subscriber, knowing that a majority of my subscription fee goes to artists I didn't listen to and don't care about and probably don't even like feels like kind of a bummer. And unfair to those artists who I did listen to avidly during the month, who don't get to benefit from my full subscription dollars. What percent of your subscription dollars go to pay royalties for other artists that you didn't even listen to? Here, let's estimate it with another calculation. Let's say you're a US subscriber to Spotify and you pay $10 a month for your subscription. After Spotify takes their 40%, there's $6 left to pay royalties to shareholders, to rights holders. We already estimated in our example that one stream was worth 3/10 of a penny or 3/1000ths of a dollar. If you do the math, $6 divided by 0.003 of a dollar, that means that your $6 pays enough royalties for 2,000 streams. Now we have to figure out how many streams we actually listen to. Let's use me as an example. Let's assume that I listen to 20 streams or songs per day for an average for the month. There are days where I listen to very little music, but I listen to podcasts. Then there are those chill by the pool days where I'm listening to hours of music. So if I average 20 streams a day in 30 days, that's 600 streams. But my subscription, per our calculation we just did, covers 2,000 streams. That means I'm paying royalties on 1,400 streams for other artists I never listened to. That's 70% of my royalties going to artists I haven't listened to and may not even like. Pretty crazy, right? Of course, your mileage may vary. If you listen to 8 hours of music every day in the background while working, that means other subscriptions are paying for some of the artists you listen to, because you will have consumed more than 2,000 streamed in a month. So right now, you may be thinking, there's got to be a fairer way to pay royalties, right? And indeed, one streaming company recently revealed some very interesting information about the results of their shift away from pro rata royalty calculations to something called fan-powered royalties. I will tell you all about that in my next video. Stay tuned.